Sit back, strap in, and get ready for After Hours with TC Restani. This is Abigail Harwich, executive producer, welcoming you to the show. And now, TC Restani!
Alrighty, welcome to the After Hours of TC Restani, the podcast. I'm TC Restani, emanating from the palatial podcast penthouse at Restani Productions for another fun-filled episode of After Hours with TC Restani, the podcast. Going around the horn, as I always do, the milkman himself, Quincy Briscoe, is in the house.
And how you doing tonight?
We're doing fantastic. I like your little Dixie cup of water that you have in front of you.
Yeah, I figured I'd have fun with the Dixie cups. Been a long time since we've had fun with Dixie.
Is that a Dixie Riddle cup?
No, it doesn't have any riddles, but...
Riddle me this, riddle me that. Quincy Briscoe hosts the Batcast. And of course, my mentor, the one and the only, the coonskin hat wearing himself, Ricky Bittman.
And it's going to be the time of year where the coonskin hat's going to heat my head up because it's getting warmer out
It's
there.
getting a little warm outside.
I like it. I like it a lot.
well, that's good. It means like it's going to be warming up real soon now. And
Well, in our area here, the Boston area, most of the snow has been melted.
Thank God.
The ice and whatnot. As I looked at the calendar today, we are recording this on March the 5.
Right?
And it was almost 60 degrees here.
Is this the Ides of March?
I don't know.
Or is that the 15th? I always get that. I got to look it up now. When's the Ides of March? Do you know what the Ides of March are?
No, tell me.
Oh, well, now I got to tell you. It's from Shakespeare, right?
Of course. To be or not to be?
Yeah, that one.
That, of
the
course,
Ides
is
of
the
March.
question?
Wait a minute. The Ides of March 2025 is, it's the 15th. Never mind.
10 days off. Well, what the hell is it?
Well, if I remember correctly from my high school English classes, from the play Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare, he encountered a soothsayer. Do you know what a soothsayer is?
Yeah, they sell suits, right?
Do you know what a soothsayer is, Quincy?
not really.
All right. He's kind of like a guy who tells the future. And he ran into this soothsayer, and the soothsayer
Snake oil
said to him-
salesman, huh?
What? He said to him, "Beware the Ides of March." And it was on the Ides of March, which is the 15th of March, that Brutus and all those guys stabbed
Brutus
him.
Beefcake?
No.
Oh.
Brutus.
Brutus.
What's his last name? Brutus Aurelius or something like that? Some Greek guy. Oh, no, he's a Roman. They all stabbed him to death.
Wow.
And it happened on the Ides of March.
Wow.
So the soothsayer was, I think when we read it in school, we read like we had the sheet in front of us and we read it. And I think I was the soothsayer. Wow. And I got really, really dramatic. And I went, "Aye, beware the Ides of March."
That doesn't sound Roman.
And the nuns would say, "Mr. Pittman, this is not the Wizard of Oz, and you are not the Wicked Witch of the West."
That's what happened to you.
Yeah.
Wow. On the Ides of
The
March.
Ides of March.
But what does Ides mean?
Well, I guess it's some probably Latin for 15, I would guess.
Okay.
So
any Romans out there that know these things, they can give us a call.
now, did he write these plays in Latin? I'm not a Shakespeare guy. I got to be honest with you.
Neither am I.
I really just
I hated to read Shakespeare in
and
school.
everybody makes such a big deal out of it. I try to sit through that one with Mickey Rooney, Midsummer Night Dream, where he plays Puck. And I was like, what the hell was wrong
Gil
with Mickey?
Gerard played Buck.
No, Puck.
Oh, Puck.
Puck, the
Beady, 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 beady.
he was a fairy.
Oh, he was in Peter Pan.
Well, Peter Pan had more, in my opinion, that story was way better than anything William Shakespeare wrote. I mean, you compare Jurassic Park to Taming of a Shrew? Come on.
All these weird names like a shrew. What is a shrew?
I don't know, some old lady, and I guess he just said, "Listen, sit down and just relax."
The only time that Shakespeare made any sense was in Star Trek VI when the Klingon kept quoting Shakespeare in Klingon.
I guess, now see, that I never saw.
Takba, takbe.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That was very genuine. That was authentic right there.
Hey.
The pronunciation and everything. But I'm not a big Shakespeare guy. I got to be honest with you. Romeo and Juliet, like, I get it.
Romeo and Juliet
Yeah.
are together in eternity.
I remember
Romeo
more
and
about
Ju-
Marsha Brady being Juliet and Jan and Peter being the guards, Hark, who goes there.
That's right.
Than I do about
Was
reading.
that the Dr. Vogel episode? Remember she had the...
No, that was one where she just became a real stuck-up bitch.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And they had that like dramatic music playing.
Yeah.
Nee, 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 nee,
Now that song, now that I remember because I used to like Andy Williams as a kid. I'm a very strange individual. And there's a song called "A Time for Us," and I think that was Juliet's theme or Romeo and Juliet's theme.
Paramount must have owned it. That's why they could use it.
They used it in the show.
I know. Remember?
Yeah.
They used it a couple episodes.
Yeah. Andy Williams sang it though. Sang it the best.
Just
a time for us. Da, 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 da.
And then she was sucking people for coke. Not a couple of years later.
Oh, if I only knew.
If you only knew what I'm gonna do to
I
you.
would have said, "Hey, Masha, I've got some cocaine."
Inside it, you'd be like Harvey Kling. I got it inside a bug.
I put it on a flashlight like that Indian kid. We fed him the beans.
Jimmy Pacaya.
Yeah. Yuck the hay.
Yuck the hay.
Got the hell.
Yuck the hay.
Speaking of yuck the hay, I got over here all the way from jolly old England to my good friend Josephine over in England. Sent me for my birthday, which was very generous of her, a couple boxes of authentic jelly babies.
I got to tell you right now, Josephine, come fly with me in my flying machine. These are absolutely delicious.
Maynard Bassett's Jelly Babies. And I met Joe on Twitter Spaces several years ago. And the only thing I used to tell the people when I used to go into these chat rooms with a lot of people from England, the only thing I know about from England about media-wise was The Young Ones and Doctor Who.
Well, two good exports.
And I knew about this long before Twitter Spaces, but Doctor Who's favorite snack was Jelly Babies.
Right.
And I had a friend who was obsessed with Doctor Who. And he could only find like American versions, so it tasted like jelly beans.
Yeah.
And I never, I tried to explain, oh yeah, they taste like jelly beans. No, they don't. They taste like jelly babies. And I was like, well, what the hell does it taste like? Well, here we are a couple years later, and unannounced, I got here at Restani Productions a package sent to me all the way from England with 2 boxes of authentic jelly babies.
And Joe, he was kind enough to share them. And I'm telling you.
I've shared them with everybody down here. I still got another box that's unopened.
But I noticed Quincy couldn't put his hand in the box.
No.
Okay.
Because Quincy was doing a little work elsewhere earlier. So
now, what did you think of that candy? It was good, huh?
Tastes of, if you have me, a little bit like a cold chocolate marshmallow that
I'm going to
comes
have
out of
another
the
one.
cereal.
We're gonna have another
a lot
jelly
of these. I saw you have another box.
which I'm not opening for a while.
I wouldn't, but these are really good.
You're like a mild marshmallow.
It kind of looks like, if you look at the jelly baby holding it, I'm not going to take a picture of it because these are for us. It kind of looks like E.T.
You know what it looks like? Remember the chocolate babies they used to sell?
Not really.
Yeah, they used to sell little chocolate babies.
Wow.
They can't anymore, though.
Well, this right here, this looks like E.T. covered in cocaine.
Actually, it does. That one does look like E.T. You're right.
You like Reese's Pieces, do you?
Yeah, maybe the jelly babies fight the Reese's Pieces.
Now, it's funny you should say that the jelly babies that you could find back in the day tasted like jelly beans because the Beatles, when they came to America, all the kids learned that they loved jelly babies. That's what they call them in England. Here we call them jelly beans. And if you look at old footage of the Beatles playing live in Washington and everything when they first came to America, the kids are literally pelting the stage with jelly beans.
And I'm reading the ingredients here. This is authentic from England.
Yeah.
There is no high fructose corn syrup in this.
Well, they're delicious.
So
I told you it was kind of like a mild sweetness to it.
It was very good. I'm going to keep the box too. And thank you, Joe, out there.
Joe, thank you. A million
early
thank yous.
birthday gift. And well, she's a fellow March baby like myself.
Very nice.
And it's wonderful. And thank you very much.
I like when they interview the Beatles about the jelly babies, and they say, well, people ask, do you still like jelly babies? Well, after all the boxes we've received of them, we've gone right off jelly babies. So then they stopped liking them. Then they went on to the reefer, those Beatles.
and to this day, who's left? The 2 of them?
Yeah.
They're not refusing any of that.
I think Ringo and Paul.
Well, Paul's a vegan, and that's from the earth.
Yeah, but I think they're both like, let's just take a step back. Nice. Reminds me of the old jukebox days.
Does remind me. Oh, speaking of that, have you had any updates on the jukebox? So, a couple episodes ago, you were rumbling around.
Well, I said I
with
listen, all her talents in the world cannot get around the licensing. So there's no way I can do a jukebox type podcast. But maybe I'll do something with just me.
And
But then again, I always feel like I should save the content for this.
well, whatever. Restani Productions is a big empire. We're always looking for content. I understand that you and our other producer Howard are coming up with some sort of movie show.
Yeah, listen, man, I told Howard I'm excited to work with him. I like working with the young people like him. He's creative. He's brilliant. I like all the stuff he does up here. I was watching Batcast the other night, and I enjoyed that, and you guys are great together. So I said, if he can do what he did with Quincy with me, I'm all for it. So, yeah, we're going to put something together.
We're going to put that in. We're not going to let the cat out of the bag, as to say. But it's going to be a fascinating show. This will be a video show, not a podcast.
No, definitely. And, maybe we can bring back one more episode of Kung Fu Theater. If anyone can find a public domain Kung Fu movie, it's got to be Howard.
Either he could do that, or you could get little Kung Fu figures and act out the scenes.
Well, not with my fat fingers.
Not with the arthritis. Not with your arthritis.
No, I'm still nimble, but, people will go, look at fatso with the fat fingers. But
now, what got you into Kung Fu movies?
That's a great question. I would have to say, and a lot of purists out there would say, that was your gateway into martial arts films. There was two, actually. One was watching the TV show Kung Fu with my old man.
I was on in 74, right?
Yes, my dad and I watched that show a lot together. Then what they would do is in later years, they took them and they like put them 2 episodes together and they make it like the late night Sunday movie of the week.
Oh, I remember that.
And it was just 2 episodes of Kung Fu. And my mother would say, well, you can't stay up late. But they said, but that's the show we watch. She said, I know, but you've seen it, but you can't stay up at midnight and watch this show. And I'd hear my dad out there, and I would hear the theme song coming from the other room, and I would just get sad because he was watching it by himself.
And this was before VCRs.
Oh, God, long before VCRs.
And you never knew if they were going to repeat it.
Exactly. When you missed it, you missed it.
Right.
But I did love it. And so you got that. Then when I was a young man, my mother would take us in what they used to call, we're going into town. Did you ever have to go into town?
All the time,
All right,
yes.
So you're going into town meant you're going downtown Boston, and the bus that took you from South Boston would go through the combat zone.
I remember the combat zone very well.
So we all do, right? And you the Pussycat Theater and the Naked Eye Cabaret and all that. But there was also a giant Chinese theater. And it was huge, and they had the marquees outside. It was always Bruce Lee, this, and the names of the different Kung Fu movies were just so interesting. And then when I see the, you go into the Stairway to Heaven store where they have all the rock and roll memorabilia, and you'd see Bruce Lee posters and stuff, and he had all those scratches.
Enter the
on
Dragon.
Yeah. And then every now and then you'd catch one on TV, and I'd watch it, and I just was like, it's a very big part of Chinese culture. I mean, there's these movies, regardless of if they were like,
he's like the Elvis of China.
oh my God, him? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he like almost like a James Dean, where he did the 3 great movies and then he was gone. And but just and then of course the imitators came and everything. But there's a lot of good quality Kung Fu movies out there. And now right now, if you're listening, Tubi is a great source for martial arts films. Trust me.
Wonderful.
Any kind you want to see, and some of them are really funny, and some of them are really very.
Now,
poignant.
getting back to the combat zone.
Yes, I knew we were going to come back to that, so I wanted to say as much as I could as possible about martial
Now,
arts.
you saw movies there, not the naughty ones, but the Kung Fu ones.
Yes.
How did you not run into the Colonel before the damp napkin? Because he was a bouncer at the Naked Eye.
Yeah, well, I never went in there because I was.
Well, he was outside.
Okay, well, he was trying to get you to come in. Yeah, step right up. We got the girls up on the stage. I do remember always seeing the poster for Princess Cheyenne. You remember? You ever heard that name?
Yes, I have.
And she went on to be like she. I think it was she. Presented herself as some sort of degree-holding doctorate or something.
Okay. Was she like Sharon Mitchell in the porno industry?
It kind of come to find out she had nothing on
Right.
that. But she was a doll from what I understand.
That was before my time.
Yeah. But you'd see those pictures and they'd have the pictures in the newspaper. Like, this is what we had to do to find hot chicks, pictures of them. You had to go to the newspaper and see like a shitty black and white cartoon almost of Princess Cheyenne. But she was adorable.
I remember the name, but I never had the honor of going. Did you ever tell you the story when we drove through the combat zone, probably in the late 90s? This is when the combat zone was really dying.
Yeah,
It was like the combat block. It wasn't the combat zone.
Yeah.
And Airwolf Chris, our former TV director, had a friend of his who was about a year or two younger than him, and he'd never been into the combat zone before.
Oh, boy.
So, Airwolf Chris was at the tail end of the combat zone.
Mm-hmm.
He saw, I don't think he, partaked in any of the activities in there.
Yeah.
If he did, he didn't invite me. But we were in his SUV one night. I guess that's what you call it. And the kid who had never been in the combat zone, we put him up in the shotgun position. the passengers.
Oh no, I get you. I'm just trying to figure out who this is.
And it was I don't think you may recognize him.
Nobody I know from the show.
No.
Okay, all right.
And it was a hot summer's night. It was during the summer. I think it was like either a Thursday or Friday night. We're like, okay. We were like building it up, but I said, you know what? It's not like it was 15 years ago.
But it was cool to drive through.
It was very still cool. It was the red light. For those of you who don't know what it was, the combat zone was the red light district in Boston, Massachusetts. It really was only maybe 3 blocks.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, it was just a tiny little area. Well, now this is a minuscule little version of that. It was actually the street connecting Chinatown and the combat zone. So we get in there, and true to the red light district, the red light was red for a long period of time, and a little traffic jam. Out of nowhere, this black woman who looked like Whoopi Goldberg, with the hair and everything, had a plastic container, and in it, she must have got it in Chinatown, was squid.
Oh.
And she was eating it with a fork, and she kept putting them out, and all you could hear is...
I'm getting sick.
So she walks over to the window, and this kid was probably just 18.
Oh.
And he's like, he's from the suburbs and whatnot. He's never seen anything like this before. And she comes over to the window. She goes, hey, baby. You want a blowjob? This kid's eyes were like, what do I say? I don't want to, in his mind, he's like, do I want to be rude? I can't be rude and whatnot. And we were all laughing. And she always said, what are you all laughing at? You want one? You all know you want one.
Dear God,
and there was this kid sitting next to me, and he goes, yeah, you already smell like seafood downstairs, but now you smell like it upstairs. Going, oh my God, was she ready? Thank God that light turned green, because I think the front seat was going to be filled with that squid, and she was ready with her stiletto heels to start kicking the shit out of the car.
Or she'll send her guy. You don't want that.
This was before. There's no pimp with this one. Are you kidding me? She was an independent contractor. Eating that squid. I'll never forget that noise in the squid.
I'm just thinking of this poor kid. I mean, what do you... Yeah, it's...
So, Billy, what did you do tonight?
Yeah.
Well, Airwolf Chris and TC took me into some place called the Combat Zone.
Yeah, it couldn't have been Princess Cheyenne.
And Whoopi Goldberg was eating...
Couldn't have been her.
Oh, no. Let me see that for a second.
That's Princess Cheyenne. Little dime, huh?
Kind of looks a little bit like...
Yeah? And she used to wear Indian headdresses on her head when she would perform sometimes.
Way better than the Whoopi Goldberg of the Combat Zone.
But that's why she's not going to come up.
Squidberg. We should rename her Squidberg.
You're not going to get that offer. I remember Artie Lang one time said the first, let's just say the first woman he was with had a face like David Ortiz.
Oh, man. Squidberg isn't looking too bad, I guess, huh? Now, did you partake going in there when you got older?
I went into the Naked Eye Cabaret once.
Really?
I can't remember. We were my friend Eddie, who went into the priesthood, actually. Honest to God, truth.
Scared him into it?
Yeah, we were all hanging out one night. We somehow wound up in there.
Another jelly, baby.
I ate way too many of those, but they are delicious. So we wound up in there, and I can't remember what it looked like inside. There were dancers on stage, et cetera, and all that. But I remember him coming out to me and said he just got robbed in the men's room. And we weren't even there 30 minutes.
Was that what did they have the locked stalls?
I never went in.
Oh, okay.
He said he was at the thing doing his business, and the guy came up behind him, and he said, pointed something in his back and said, I want all your money. And Eddie just gave it to him. And I said, all right.
Gee, Bill, if you're out there, you're such a great bouncer.
People robbing them and robbing each other.
He probably got half of it. What are you talking about?
I don't think Princess Cheyenne was on stage, but so I said, well, let's just get the hell out of here, because by that time the Foxy Lady and all that was coming around.
What about the glass slipper? You ever been in there?
I did not go into the glass slipper.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
The glass slipper is still there. I think it's
really?
one of the only. It is the only original gentleman's establishment from the era of the Combat Zone that is still there.
Jeez, I didn't even know that.
And they had no cover charge, so we went in there with a couple people. And I don't drink, so I got a Coke. Do you know how much that Coke cost?
$8.
$9 something. And this was back in 1997.
Yeah.
This place was so dark and dingy. It had a stage, but it had 2 staircases coming down from, I guess, the upstairs dressing room. And you would just hear the DJ, "Hi, welcome to the club right now. Let's bring it right now down the one and the only Shaniqua." And these stairs were so old, you could hear coming down. And I had to go to the bathroom. And the stalls, you had to pay money to go into them.
Yeah, well.
I felt like that scene in The French Connection. Hey, you, haircut. Speaking of that, we never mentioned on the last show that the passing of the late Gene Hackman.
Yeah, that's true. That was sad.
That was there's a little controversy. We don't know the facts yet of what happened.
A lot of controversy swimming around.
But if you ever go to the Glass Slipper, it reminds you of something you would have seen in The French Connection.
I can't believe that's still there. Is Centerfold still there?
Across the street, I believe so. But that was like more modern.
That's what I mean. Those places were starting to come in as the combat zone faded out.
Right.
You had the Foxy Lady down in Rhode Island or whatever, and
the Foxy Lady had a turnstile when you walked in.
I remember
that.
Like
a subway.
Yep. And the place I probably went more than any of them was the Golden Banana.
Okay, that was the very first club I ever went to when I turned 21.
Me and my buddies used to drive up there quite a bit. Had a hell of a time.
The Cages.
Yeah.
Bull's sister used to dance there.
The Cage, really?
Yeah. You ever hear that story?
I didn't know that he. You know what? Tell it again.
For those people out there who have never heard the Bull story. Now, Bull's sisters were very attractive, and that was the big running gag. How are you related? So we went to. It was me and like Bull and like 7 other people went to the Golden Banana one night in 1996. And Bull, come on in, I know the guy. He did, of course, obviously. So we get in there, and the Golden Banana it had like, a couple stages maybe?
Yes.
It had the main stage, and then it had like a couple side stages. It had cages as well.
I remember the
like
cages.
big giant bird cages that Charlie the Owl would have on the New Zoo Review.
His elevator?
Right, yeah. That's what it looked like. So we're sitting there, and it was a warm summer's eve.
The best time to go.
And everybody was chilling, having their drinks and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, I think they shared DJs because they all sound the same from all the clubs. Now making the way to the stage, Star. And all we hear at the table is, "Uh-oh."
Oh no!
I'm like, everybody's like, "What?" She comes out. My sister.
Oh.
He takes a napkin and puts it in front of his eyes, just so he wouldn't see.
Yeah, well.
So she's coming out. She's not naked yet. She's coming out doing her thing. And then all of a sudden, out of the corner of her eye, she spots him.
Oh.
And, you're talking about sparks flying. Bull's other nickname was Ringo.
Yep.
So she's on stage. She's like, "Ringo, what the fuck are you? I didn't know. Now, the bouncers thought they were, had no clue what was going on.
They come right over.
So they come running over, and he's like, "It's my sister." She's like, "That's my fucking brother. Get him out of here."
Jesus.
So Bull gets dragged out of there.
There's other people that tell this story,
Right.
Like on Thanksgiving to their friends. One night we were in the Golden Banana. You're not going to believe this.
Well, it's true. There were other than me, there were 5 witnesses to this, and he gets dragged out. And his sister goes back on stage and does her thing and whatnot. As soon as it's over, she goes back, puts all her clothes on, storms outside, and you can hear, "Ringo, I told you never to come here." I didn't know. And she's like, "That was my last set. I'm leaving." "Can I go back in?" "I don't fucking care." It was just like, oh my God. Imagine that you go into a club and your sister's up on stage.
I can't even imagine that. My God.
He has another interesting story that took place at a strip club.
Yeah.
This was at the Naked Eye.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Bull was a bouncer there, like I said, and this was in the early 90s. Excuse me, Jelly Babies. This was in the early 90s. And someone had Ex-Lax on the counter.
God.
All right?
Here we go again.
And he thought
This is going to be worse than the Squid story.
He thought it was candy. And he starts pounding it. And the guy's like, where did my Ex-Lax go? He goes, I thought that was Hershey's. And he goes, "You ate it all?" He's like, "Oh, man, you're going to get bound up." Like, no,
the opposite.
I sound like him.
Opposite day.
So what happens was, after about an hour or so, you just hear him in the corner going, "Ow. Ow. What are you giving birth? Ow." He's all bound up, right?
I'm getting the douche chills like all over my body
So
tonight.
fortunately, right down the street was what? New England Medical Center. So we bring him to New England Medical Center into the emergency room. and he's hunched over, and they're like, "Did he get stabbed? It's a rough area." They're like, "No, he ate Ex-Lax." Well, how much? Like a lot. And they're like, "Oh, all right." So he's in pain. He has abdominal pains from the Ex-Lax and whatnot. So the doctor comes into the emergency room. Comes in. Now, Bull
Was
is,
he eating a tuna sandwich?
no, it wasn't that one. He comes in and he looks at him and he goes, "Stomach problems?" "Ow, ow." And he goes, "Can I ask you a personal question? What color is your stool?"
Oh,
And he looks at me and he looks at the other people, and then he looks between his legs and he goes, "Silver." And he's like, "What?" And someone put two and two together. "Not the stool you're sitting in, the actual your caca, your poo-poo."
Oh.
And everybody was just like, "Oh, we got to get out of here."
I thought you were going to say he looked between his legs because he was,
No.
he was making a stool.
No. Silver.
Oh, God.
Never forget that. Silver.
He should have just went and sat on the toilet. There's nothing really else you can do.
He was, literally, we thought he was going to give birth like an alien.
Oh,
all right.
Can you imagine the hell? Oh,
It was just, I'm getting choked up thinking about it. It was just, I'll never forget it. He stopped, looked between his legs, looked up at the emergency room doctor and goes, "Silver." The guy was like, "What?"
When you think about it, how many disasters were a result of the fact that Ex-Lax looked like a candy bar? What do you think about it?
There's the main event story right there.
Wouldn't you make it look like something that just nobody on Earth would eat by accident?
Right.
I mean, for crying out loud.
Why don't you read the friggin' label before
Yeah.
you eat it?
Well, from what I remember, there was no wrapper on it. It was just that, Reynolds wrap type of crap that was wrapped around it.
Yeah, but you just leave there and look like candy.
How long was he in the hospital for?
I don't know. We all left after the silver thing. I think they just gave him something to make him go to the bathroom, and he was back at the Naked Eye probably 20 minutes later.
Imagine,
eating
all right.
more Ex-Lax.
Listen, we have the world's most powerful laxative. Let's make it in the shape of a mallow cup, shouldn't we?
Silver. God bless Bull.
God bless
I talked
him.
to him yesterday up in his private resort.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
He's doing okay. He was playing bingo, and he was playing bingo.
Ringo bingo?
Bingo. And he wants some visitors, so we may have to go up there soon.
All right.
We won't be bringing any Ex-Lax.
Should we go on Easter Sunday?
I think I got word. I'm having a family gathering.
Excuses.
That's good.
What are you going to have for dinner on Easter? Even though that's 40 days from now. I don't know why we're talking about
Yeah,
it.
but I just got word the other day. We're all gathering, so
What's on the menu?
I don't know. I'm sure whatever they have, I'll like it. I talked about this the other
You're
day.
not very flexible, though, with the menu.
Well, don't have to be. All I gotta do is I'll say something, and then it's like,
What if they say we're going to have lasagna? Do you like lasagna?
no,
See, here we go.
Or what do they say they're going to have? Lamb.
2 strikes.
steak. They always cook something I like anyway.
Steak.
So, yeah, why not?
Now, you like boiled steak.
Boiled or
What?
with a
Whoa,
prime rib.
whoa. What do you mean boiled steak?
Well, I never really heard of a boiled steak. No.
What are you talking about? You told us down here not too long ago you like to boil meat.
No, I didn't say boiled meat. What they'll do is they'll get prime rib, with something to the effect. I don't have to worry. They always get
Prime
some-
rib's good, but you don't want to boil it.
The only time you boil meat is like on St. Patrick's Day, the boiled dinner, or if you're making like a stew or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I must have misheard you when you were talking to Howard that time, where you were talking about boiled meat.
I never said boiled meat. If I did, then
No one knew it was probably spoiled meat, but
You can boil chicken.
the only time you really do these things if these things are frozen. Then you have to. If you're in a hurry to let it thaw out, then you have to boil it, right?
Well, yeah, they're not supposed to really boil frozen meat, but they,
they're supposed to boil meat, period.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, you can boil chicken.
You ever boiled fish?
No.
I think you can poach it. They call it poached.
You can boil lobsters.
That's true. And they scream.
By right, yeah. Then
They scream?
Yeah.
I didn't have any vocal cords.
That's true. You can hear.
Are you sure that's not when
No.
it's going into the water and
No.
the heat and all that other
No.
junk?
They scream.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't even think lobsters do that.
I went out with a girl once and she boiled her own lobsters. I'd never seen it done before. We bought the fresh lobsters and...
How have you lived around here and never seen a boiled lobster before?
I never saw it prepared. I've seen a boiled lobster, but it came to me boiled. I wasn't there when they killed it. She killed her own lobsters. They really,
I don't like lobsters, but I
they
never
flip
really...
around. They're the cockroaches of the sea.
I never really heard of a lobster having a voice, as you boil them.
They scream. You throw this animal into boiling water and you kill it.
It's not an animal, it's a fish. It's a
It's
crustacean.
a crustacean.
Yeah.
Jinx Coke.
Speaking of that, Leon the lobster passed away.
Yeah, I know. You were depressed about
Yeah,
that.
it was that. He was a big internet star and whatnot.
It happens.
Yeah,
You more sad about him or Gene Hackman? The fact that it took this long to answer, folks, tells you a lot about our host. And he's still taking time.
Maybe Leon the lobster had something to do with it. No, I have no. Obviously, Gene Hackman.
All right,
the
I
man was an
just wanted to be
icon.
sure,
The
I
man
mean,
was
you-
an icon. But I felt bad for Leon the lobster too. He was a content creator.
Remember the lobster on Saturday Night Live?
No, I never watched that show. Remember, we had a couple episodes ago where we talked
That's right.
about that.
Well, they did a thing one night where they were keeping a lobster alive or killing it,
Yeah.
and everyone voted to save the lobster. And then when Andy Kaufman started all his shenanigans, they did a show, Keep Andy or Lose
I
Andy.
remember that. Saw that in The
And
Man on the Moon.
And they lost Andy.
Did they try
kept
to
the lobster, but
did they try to boil Andy?
they pretty much did after that. It's funny. Getting back to the glass slipper, they have a website.
They do.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting.
Do they have any merch?
They do actually. As a matter
Maybe
of
we
fact.
should go there.
Oh, you kidding me? Tosh Lent would.
Okay, maybe we should go there and take a picture outside
I
of
got
it.
caught the last time you took me to one of those places.
You want to talk about that story?
No.
Okay, all right.
Abby wouldn't like that either. Abby, and she thinks I'm a good boy.
I remember that night.
Oh, can I tell you the latest? 2 tickets to Blake Shelton Friday night.
It's Blake Shelton.
Blake Shelton's one of the top country stars in the country.
Wasn't he the guy who did Pink Panther?
No, that was Blake Edwards.
Oh, whatever.
Took me a minute. But she, remember they were at the wine tasting?
Yeah.
And she gave Tosh
See,
2.
that doesn't impress me.
But these are like the hottest tickets in town, kid.
Oh, that's at the Glass Slipper. What are you talking about?
Well, thank you, Abby. This Friday, we're going to be attending TD Garden, Blake
Well,
Shelton
by the time
show.
this aired, this will be last Friday.
That's right. Well, last Friday. So I'll tell you next time you'll hear the review of the show. Trace Adkins is going to be there. He's that guy who does those Red Cross commercials, the real deep boys.
Oh, yeah.
And a couple other country stars. So I'm looking forward to that.
I'd go to Waylon Jennings if he was still around.
Yeah, Waylon Jennings was great. I mean, he's the king of country music.
Did he
He's right
sing
up
Just
there.
a Good Old Boys when you saw him?
I never saw him, but he probably would have.
That's his most famous song.
Yeah, no. Listen, I love Waylon Jennings. No question about it. And his son, Shooter Jennings, too.
Shooter Jennings. I remember a guy named Shooter Funk that
Yeah,
we
you
had
had
on the
him on- yeah,
program.
he was pretty good.
It wasn't
Whatever.
bad. It wasn't bad.
We got to bring him back. Him
Was he
and Abby
related to
should-
Terry?
Him and probably, yeah. Him and Abby should do a duet.
Well, Abby is a very good singer.
Shooter Funk and Abby.
She sang that song once from A Star Is Born,
Yeah.
the Arizona sky, what? It was very, I thought it was actually better than Gaga.
She and Shooter should do that duet from Star Is Born. Run that by.
I'll ask her next time, but you see her more than I do now, or Tosh does.
I don't want to push my luck,
But why don't you? We should go around and take pictures in front of famous, sleazy Boston landmarks.
Okay. I mean, I know a couple of them.
Not, I'm not going to go down to the Constitution or
No. Everybody
the
sees that.
North End, the Paul Revere's house, all that
Yeah,
crap.
you can see that anyway.
The Glass Slipper,
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. There used to be a Facebook page called Dirty Old Boston.
Right.
It was great because you saw all those old places. I think that went by the wayside.
The channel's gone, right?
Oh, God, yeah.
All
levels.
remnants of
I was
that.
talking about the channel today, as a matter of fact, because I scored my own tickets to Devo. I didn't have to go to Abby for that. Me and some
okay,
buddies are going to see Devo in May. And I was talking to a guy today about the channel because I'd seen Devo play the channel. And I was at this little bar they have in the back of the channel. The channel's like a roadhouse. If anyone out there is unfamiliar with it, it's flat, one level, and it just seemed to go on forever, almost like a little half size of Gillies. It just seemed to be huge.
You can use your Google machine and type in Channel Boston.
Yeah, you'll get an idea what it looks like. And it looks like a shithole, but it really was. It wasn't. It was in the sense that it was kind of a dump, but they got some great acts. I saw B.B. King there. I saw Spinal Tap played a show there. Roy Orbison. Big Audio Dynamite, Devo.
Speaking of Roy Orbison, ooh, I got Siamese twins jelly babies.
I saw Orbison 2 weeks before he passed. But anyway, the night we went to see Devo, If you walk into the channel and walk by all the action in the back, there's a bar that sells cans of Bud. Otherwise, it was cheap draft beer up front, but you get a can of Budweiser in the back. So me and my buddies are down there waiting for the show to begin, and all of a sudden you hear on the door. We're standing right by the door. So I'm like, I'm not going to. It kept going. So finally, one of my buddies joked, he says, open it. It's Devo. So I opened the door. Devo was standing there with their stuff.
Wow.
And Mark Mothersbaugh looks up and he goes, any idea how to get to the stage in this place? And I'm like, gentlemen, right this way. So I like.
And you didn't see Bull because he was a bouncer there also.
Nobody. And the guys come rushing over when they saw that door open. And then they realized that they should have been there to let Devo in. Of course, I got pushed out of the way.
That's where Bull became very good friends with Roy Orbison.
Yeah, and Roy died two weeks after.
When Roy played there, he for some reason fell in love with Bull.
Isn't that amazing how people do?
And took him out for dinner.
And they never met you. Imagine the love. Roy Orbison would have loved you. You know, like Roy Orbison?
Anything you want, you got it.
No, that was him with the Traveling Wilburys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Fuck you, I can say what I want to say.
no, I'm saying I'm just.
I mean, it's a great song, but I'm just saying, remember the classics?
Remember when Bull sang Pretty Woman?
I'm just going to say.
Well, there's two songs I remember by Roy Orbison. Anything You Want, and from the movie Pretty Woman, right?
Yeah.
He probably did a lot of songs, but the radio used to play those two songs because those were. I always tell you.
He also sang a song called Shadaroba. Shadaroba.
He died kind of young.
Yeah, he was like in his 60s, I think.
But he looked like he was like with that weird hair and everything.
Yeah,
he was just odd looking dude.
He was, but he had a gift.
And that's why I guess he had a gift. He became friends with Bull Montana.
Yeah, well, who wouldn't want that gift?
That's the gift that keeps on giving to me.
Right. Giving and giving.
If Bull comes back on the program, hopefully, or we can get him on the phone, maybe we can ask him to sing his rendition of Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman. I can only imagine.
You don't remember hearing him sing that?
I do not.
It was different.
Yeah?
Yeah. It wasn't as cool as the time that Jeff sang Girl to Sabrina from Davy Jones from the Brady Bunch.
Look what you've done to me, me and my whole world. Girl, you brought the sun to me with your smile. I'm telling you, girl.
A little bit of trivia.
Yeah?
His manager on that episode.
Yes.
He was the guy that got struck 66 times in the great outdoors.
That's right. I was just trying to think. He's been in a ton of movies, too, that guy.
He was also Anthony Michael Hall's dad in Weird Science.
That's right.
Yeah. He's been around forever. I don't know if he's still around, but it's another little Brady Bunch musical fun fact.
Yes.
Got a jelly baby stuck there. Remember the episode when it was time to change?
Oh, yeah.
It's time to change.
The radio guy, the guy who was mixing the sound, the ball guy.
Yeah, you remember you telling me.
And he goes, the Brady Six is going to be a big hit. South Boston Jeff, the legend that he was obsessed with Jenny McCarthy back when she was doing her Playboy days.
I get it.
Okay? And there was a Christmas edition, and she was sitting on Santa Claus's lap. The guy who played Santa Claus was the announcer / engineer.
I remember
in
the
that
story,
episode.
yes.
And I go, Jeff. He goes, dude. He pointed at me and he goes, I guessed it, but don't, because we shared the same brain when it came to pop culture. He goes, dude, take a look. Who's that fucking guy that's Santa Claus? Look in the eyes.
Oh my God.
And this was what? That was like probably 74.
With the Brady Bunch.
With the Brady Bunch, and Jenny McCarthy was probably
87,
92, 93.
He's got a good memory.
So, well, the reason I know is because Jenny McCarthy beat out my friend Jenny Lavoie to be Playmate of the Year. And I got a little bone to pick with her.
Now we know.
But that Christmas edition of Playboy with Jenny McCarthy on Santa Claus, that was the guy who was on the Brady Bunch. I recognized the head and the eyes.
Something? Well, that was Jeff's gift.
That was Jeff's gift.
Yes.
And he was just like, I fucking hate that guy now. But yeah, he goes, it all ties together. Because she was the one who interviewed the Brady Bunch on their 30th anniversary or something.
Can I ask you though, is there footage of Jeff singing to Sabrina?
If it is, it's on a DVD somewhere.
I would love to see that.
I'd have to find that. But that was probably around 2006, maybe 2007.
Oh, that was before Bittman got involved.
Yeah.
I think.
That was a while ago.
Oh, was it?
I don't know. You'd have to remember that yourself. Actually, I think Bittman, you showed up. Well, I've known you for a million years, but I think you showed up on the program around 2007.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah,
because that episode where you guest hosted for me, and I was actually a guest on the show, was February of 2008.
How do you do it? How does he do it, Quincy?
How do you do it?
He knows the trivia, knows the songs.
Tell me about it.
Know the songs. Because I write the songs that make the whole world sing.
I write the songs of love and special things.
I'm going to try to stalk him in May.
I get tickets to that show, too. I forgot, yeah.
Sure, you're going to go see Barry Manilow, and I'm going to be standing out in front of some hotel. But you know what? If I get to meet him, I'll get to meet him.
You're right. You're right.
He'll be up on stage, like, you'll be within a wall of gerontaholics there.
Yeah, you're right.
Because they're about 75 years old, creaming over them, whatever they have left.
Oh, this show has made me so fucking nauseous.
Cause it's daybreak. If you want to believe it can't be daybreak. Ain't no time to breathe cause it's daybreak. If you want to believe it, let it shine, shine, shine all around the world.
Sing, girls.
And on that note, we're going to take a big time commercial break and we'll be back with maybe the Bee Gees.
Hey everybody, it's Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. And you know what? Everybody's got a price for me. If you want to get your money's worth, then you need to stay right here because you're watching After Hours with TC Restani.
Alrighty, welcome back from that big time commercial break. No, the Bee Gees are not here as we promised before we went to commercial break.
I started a joke that started the whole world crying. No,
I'm a big Bee Gees fan.
How can you not be?
I mean, when I used to do the podcast with Abby, she was a big Bee Gees fan. We would talk, and I said I was going to become BG Restani.
I remember that was like, you really cracked her up.
Oh, she almost died on that episode.
That was a great one. I remember listening to that.
She was like, I'm a dizzy.
You should be dancing, yeah, a dancing, yeah. Come on, now, who did?
You know what? I tried. Speaking of the Bee Gees, what I tried to watch, I think I only got like 3 minutes into it so far, but I'm going to get through the whole thing. The 1978 version of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Okay.
You ever seen this?
That movie?
Yes.
It was kind of odd.
It was, and it was all the Beatles music. That's the whole idea. George Burns was in it. The Bee Gees were in it.
It sounds like
Peter Frampton.
It sounds like the Star Wars holiday special.
Yeah, something like that. And I remember Steve Martin was in it. He played.
Oh, yeah. Bring it up.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that deathly stare.
He played Maxwell Silver, the dentist.
Maxwell Silver Hammer. Yeah. Well, back then, a lot
I
of
had
us.
a giant mirrored poster of Steve Martin as the dentist from that movie on my wall.
Really?
Yeah. And we met him. It was like,
Who was the Bee Gees' brother there?
Andy Gibb.
Andy Gibb, the one that was banging Victoria Principal.
Yeah, he died.
Yeah.
He had a drug.
They had a song together, didn't they?
Jeez, I don't know.
What was his big thing?
I knew you were going to say.
love is
yeah,
higher than mountain. Love is thicker than water.
No, that's not it.
That was his big hit. He's right.
But what was the other one that he had?
Andy Gibb. Well, I'm looking up on my computer machine.
Andy, you were the jukebox guy.
But I played that song that he was just talking about. Actually, you know what? I don't think I did because it was too long. Andy Gibb. Hold on, everyone. Calm down while I type.
Andy!
Telling you, it's love is thicker than water.
Well, he had another one, and him and Victoria Principal, Pam Ewing, sang
Andy
together.
Gibb.
I was jealous of that. I always had a thing for her.
I just want to be your everything.
That's it, yeah.
He didn't sing it with her, though.
Didn't?
No.
Oh, well.
She couldn't sing.
Maybe I sang it with her in a dream.
Shadow Dancing was another one he had. Sean Cassidy to Do Run Run.
He's still kicking, right?
Yeah, he played, I think, New Year's Eve in Boston.
Where?
At the City Winery. He
did. Say the City YMCA.
No, he did. He played down there.
Now, who went to see Sean Cassidy?
I'll tell you right now. I'll send you the link to. It's on YouTube.
Yeah,
and he did.
The same people are going to go see Barry Manilow.
Listen, Barry Manilow is a very good entertainer.
No. I'm a fan of Barry Manilow. I'm just saying that the age group that went. And
saw, they were probably old, but you know.
How old is Sean Cassidy? Was he younger than David?
Yeah, so he was his younger brother.
Okay,
Yeah,
'cause David died a couple of years ago.
Because Sean Cassidy was on that Hardy Boys show.
Oh, that's right, with Parker Stevenson.
Yes.
And that was the Nancy Drew Hardy Boys Mystery Hour. Or whatever
Pamela
it was,
Sue Martin.
from the Poseidon Adventure.
That's
who
right.
later went on to be the original Fallon on Dynasty.
That's right.
I met her a few times at some Comic-Cons. The Maybelline has held up.
Really?
Yes, wasn't a bad-looking head still.
Sean Cassidy. I'm trying to see the I should get a laptop for this.
You should get a laptop for this.
Winery. Oh, shit. Tosh just goes, are you playing Spotify? Because it's hooked up to our Alexa. That's okay.
Yeah, we're playing Sean Cassidy songs.
City Winery. All right. Yeah, he did. He played. He looks okay.
Yeah, do you have an image?
I have. He didn't look bad.
Oh my God.
He sounds good.
You only have like 4.5 hours sitting around waiting for something to happen. Happy New Year.
See, he played New Year's Eve.
Grateful to be with you. Thank you for sharing the night.
He looks like the Scarecrow without the without the makeup.
He looked decent, though.
All right, well, that didn't answer the question. How old
That I don't
is
know.
Sean Cassidy?
Let me answer Tosh because I'm throwing off her listening to.
What is she listening to?
Oh God, probably Blake Shelton.
What would you imagine if she's listening to Sean Cass?
Yes, but that I know she's not. Yes, but you can use it now, hon.
All right, Sean Cassidy. He's only 68?
If that's what it says.
Yeah, wow, I thought he'd be way older than that. Because the Hardy Boy deal was back in what, like 75,
Definitely
76?
mid to late 70s.
So, wow. Well, good for Sean Cassidy.
Yeah, the run.
Now, was he a full brother of David Cassidy, or was he a half?
No, I think they were full brothers.
Because did they both have Mrs. Partridge's moms?
Was that his real mom?
Yeah, remember
Shirley Jones was his mother in
She
real
married
life?
the guy, the father Cassidy. They had to, recognize him from his teeth, right?
Yeah. Well, that's his mother in real life.
I don't know if that's his real blood mother. I think
No,
that
I
may
don't
be
think
his
so.
stepmother.
No. Actually, he looks more like Shirley Jones than David Cassidy.
Maybe that's their.
We need somebody here to look this stuff up for us.
This is we know anything about the Charles Bronson podcast. Is there a Sean Cassidy podcast we can find?
There probably is.
No, Sean Cassidy's parents are. Wait a minute, Ted Cassidy. That ain't be that.
Ted Cassidy
Oh,
was
wait a
Lurch.
minute. That's all right. I spelt it wrong.
SHAUN.
Yeah, okay, all right. The one I'm looking up is Lurch's kid. Okay, this guy's 66 years old.
Dr. David Banner, physician, scientist.
All right, this Hammenegger, he was born in 1958, and his parents are Shirley Jones and Jack Cassidy.
Yeah, he looks more like Shirley
Okay.
Jones. Now find out who David Cassidy is.
Cassidy. Who is his? Who is his parents? His parents were Jack Cassidy, obviously,
Yeah.
and Evelyn Ward.
All right, that makes sense.
So Sean Cassidy is a full partridge.
Yes, he does look like a little like he's got like Shirley Jones. Like now they kind of look. Well, she's dead, but
No, she's not.
she's not.
No, Shirley Jones is still kicking.
David Cassidy's dead.
David Cassidy is gone, and All right, let me go. Let's make sure Shirley Jones is. This is a riveting podcast. We're finding out.
I might get her mixed up with Mrs. Brady.
Well, she's dead.
Yeah, that.
Well, what about Carolyn Jones from the Addams Family?
She's dead, isn't she?
She's long gone. I think she died in like the early 80s.
She was a hottie.
She was a very good-looking woman.
In King Creole with Elvis Presley.
All right, Shirley Jones is 90. Will be 91 on the 31st of this month.
Hey, God bless her. She's alive.
And her real name is Shirley Jones.
Shirley Jones.
I met her at one of the Chillers.
Now, isn't that funny? Now, I wonder how the timeline of Partridge Family played into that whole thing.
Well, I mean, Sean Cassidy is 66, so he was born in 1950 something. That precedes the Partridge Family. So she was obviously with Jack Cassidy already.
Yeah. I wonder how old David Cassidy would be if he had lived.
Do I have to look that up too?
No, but I'm saying he must have died fairly young because if Sean's 68.
66, 68. No, Sean Cassidy, Lurch Sean Cassidy is 68.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was like, wait
So
a minute.
this Sean Cassidy's got to be what?
This one's 66.
Okay, all right.
So David Cassidy,
I wonder how many people have already given up on the podcast.
I haven't given up on the Partridge Family. Oh, you mean
this discussion.
Well, we know Doug's still listening.
That's right. God bless Doug.
Well, this is
hey,
like.
did you see what Doug did? He tagged Reb Brown. You know the actor Reb Brown?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
See, this is we can break the fourth wall in the kayfabe.
Yeah.
This podcast wasn't supposed to happen.
No, it really wasn't.
Because tomorrow I'm going to be out of town when we usually tape this, and we came down because we had to do something with Quincy off podcast, and we were like, let's do a podcast.
And I came up just for the Jelly Babies.
And the Cassidy
Next thing
clan.
you know, we're recording a podcast for you people.
All right. So who are we looking up here? What's his name?
David Cassidy.
David Cassidy.
What's the age difference?
All right. Before we go anywhere, Sean Cassidy was 66.
Okay, he's 66.
All right. David Cassidy, who is no longer with us, was born in 1950. So that would make him 75 if he was alive.
Okay, so he's like, what, 9 years older?
9 years older.
All right.
All right. So he died in 2017 at 67.
So you figure when he was on the Partridge Family, he was probably, what, 16, 17?
Well, the Partridge Family came out, what, 1968, something like that? 69?
I think it might have been definitely 70s. It was not the 60s.
Do I have to look that up too?
I'm going to tell you right now, you don't have to.
All right, fine.
Partridge
So
Family
he was
definitely came out in
19 years old, probably.
Okay, if that. And so Sean was 10. So she met his father after, what I'm trying to say.
We have full fucking forensics on this episode tonight.
It's just kind of like the weird dynamic. Like, did they get the show after? Like, so she's sitting around the house with David Cassidy's father. They have a kid together. Oh, by the way, I auditioned for the Partridge Family. Well, so did I, Mom. Or Shirley. He probably called her Shirley. And then they both find out they're on the show together. You know what I'm saying? Trying to say? It's
I
like,
remember he was on an episode of Columbo, the dad.
Really?
Yeah.
He was on a Love Boat, I think, a couple times.
Who
too.
wasn't on the
That's
Love
true.
Boat?
That's true. Speaking of Cassidy, I'm glad you accidentally said the other Cassidy.
Lurch?
Ted Cassidy. Have you ever watched an episode of The Incredible Hulk?
It was on Friday nights
All right.
before the Dukes of Hazzard and
Okay.
before Dallas.
So that's something we never talk about, really. That's a great show.
It's a very depressing show.
Oh, it's not.
Well, you kind of think it is. The guy's,
It's sad. I wouldn't say it's depressing.
all right. He was kind of a one-man A-team on that show.
Yeah.
Well, he had help with the Hulk, but
But that show doesn't seem to have
resonated with
got
me.
its hooks into you like others.
It didn't because I was waiting for the Dukes.
Yeah. I get it.
I wasn't a comic book fan growing up.
Yeah, see, I was.
So-
I was a geek. Major
So
geek.
the Hulk, I think the Hulk was on actually before the Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, not in in timeline,
See, I wouldn't remember
but in years, I believe.
Yeah.
Because the Dukes didn't come out until 79.
Yeah, Hulk was definitely preceded that.
But that was the Friday. You kidding me? That was the Friday lineup.
But I have every episode on DVD.
Do you?
I really enjoy
The show was
watching
created
it.
by Kenneth Johnson,
Yes.
who later went on to do V.
Okay.
He created V.
Yeah.
So
I do enjoy that show. And Reb Brown, I think, was on one of the episodes.
was he?
Or I might be thinking of the guy Kreese. I might be thinking of Kreese.
The guy from Karate Kid?
Yeah. He was definitely in an
Martin
episode.
Cove?
Martin Cove was definitely an episode. It was the Rocky episode. They used to take a lot of the plots of the episodes used to mirror like popular movies at the time. Like I know there was a Shark episode and stuff like that, But there was one definitely for Rocky, which came out in '76, and that's the one that Martin Cove was in.
Wow.
And he was playing sort of a Rocky type guy too. He
How
talked like
old
this.
is Martin Cove?
He's up there. He was young in this one.
I told you that story where he helped carry Jeff back to the room. one
Yes,
night.
yes.
Martin Cove always has a special place in the after hours lore.
And he was when we were playing the Mike Walker game. I made up a story about Martin Cove. Remember
Right.
we were doing like the 3 celebrity stories?
Yes, I remember
Jeff was
those.
really taken with that, and then he started writing his own too. That was a pretty good little run we had there.
Martin Cove was also on.
The Killing Joke.
Martin Cove was also on Cagney and Lacey.
Really?
Right. I think that's one of my favorite TV theme songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, the jazzy thing on
Yeah,
there.
that was a good one.
I
Ricky Bittman was mentioned on Cagney and
I
Lacey.
remember that.
Remember that? Ricky Bittman's going away to sleepaway camp this summer.
Yeah, that was Mary
funny,
Beth
yeah.
Lacey's son.
Yeah, and his father yelled at him. What's the matter with the camp we send you to?
He won an Emmy for that show.
The kid?
No, the father.
Well, for beating the kid? Can
I don't know if he beat the kid.
I ask you, what are we watching? What is this slideshow?
I think this is one of Howard's productions.
So they're talking. This isn't just a slideshow.
No, this is a podcast with visuals over
I should
there.
bring up I have an autographed copy of The Killing Joke.
Really?
by Brian Boland. I should dig that out and bring it up there. He
Wow.
probably,
I'm sure they flip out over there. If not, Jerry Perlswig's Ghost will.
yeah, that's a kind of a big deal.
So the Incredible Hulk. So you have all those on DVD.
Yeah.
Now you frequent them as much as you do T.J. Hooker?
No, I just watched the TJ Hooker the other night, and I watched the Highway to Heaven.
Well, what was the episode?
The Highway to Heaven episode actually was a really good one. It was the one where, oh God, give me a minute because I just watched a couple of them. But the one I just watched was the one where, the guy is, what's his partner's name there? Jonathan Michael is what the Victor
Mark Gordon.
Mark.
Victor French.
That's his character. Okay, so Jonathan and Mark they don't have an assignment yet.
Oh.
And Mark wants to go visit his friend because they were in the town close by him. He's a cop. And they go there and they find out that there's somebody smuggling drugs over the border in radio-controlled airplanes. And they end up killing the guy. It was really bad and everything.
Wow.
And there's the only time so far of all the episodes I've seen, and I think this is like maybe the 12th or 13th episode, where Jonathan got mad. He walked into the bar and all the lightning.
Did he lose his angel powers?
No, not you. Is there one that happens?
Well, he has really good strength.
Oh, okay. Well, no, he just was in. He was going to straighten everybody out, but he was pissed because they killed this innocent man. Yeah.
I'll have to go back into the archives on that one.
I like that show. I really enjoy watching that, and I do my Sunday evening ritual with TJ Hooker.
I love the theme of T.J. Hooker.
Great theme.
Dun, 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 dun.
And some wise guy today, I overheard him say, Captain James T. Kirk. And I was spun around and he goes, what's the T stand for? I goes, I don't know. And I said, before I give you the answer, and then I went into the whole T.J. Hooker things. James T. Kirk, T.J. Hooker. Remember that whole thing?
Right.
So we're wondering, is Tiberius James T.J. Hooker's real name?
Could be.
Yep. And then I said to him, what episode of Star Trek did they reveal the name Tiberius? I was like, I didn't watch that stupid show. I'm like, trick question. They never did. It was revealed on the animated version of Star Trek.
Was it?
Yeah.
Which I'm a fan of the animated.
I have those on DVD too.
I actually enjoy that. There was a lore about that when they were going to lure back. They just wanted, of course, Leonard Nimoy, Shatner, and DeForest Kelley.
Yeah.
But he was tied to Spock at the time, and he was like, if everybody ain't coming back, I'm not coming back.
And then they sandbagged them.
And they got him all back. But Chekhov was not on it.
Really?
They had an alien. Remember that orange alien thing?
That's right.
That looked like a turd?
Yeah.
He was
He used to look like some basketball player I used to make fun of. I can't remember.
Well, to compensate Walter Koenig, or whatever you pronounce his last name, they let him write a bunch of episodes.
Well, that's good.
So, and then he went on to write Land of the Lost. So he had a second career because
he did all right.
They said, sorry, Chekhov, we have no money in the pot for you.
Didn't his kid get hit by a car?
No, his kid committed suicide.
Oh, he did?
His kid's name was, remember he was Boner on Growing Pains?
That was Chekhov's
That was
kid?
Chekhov's kid, yeah.
Jesus, ladies and gentlemen, my head just spinning right now. I did not know
You did not know that Boner,
And he killed himself?
he killed himself
Boner?
in a park in Toronto, I think.
That's terrible.
I remember seeing Walter Koenig at a convention, maybe like a few months after that. All his life was drained out of
Yeah,
him.
no, I can only imagine. I just can't.
He just was just deflated and whatnot. And he's a decent guy, Walter Koenig.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's a quiet. I mean, dude's almost 90.
Jesus.
I mean, you think about that. It's just like, how is that possible? I mean, Shatner will be 94.
That's amazing.
This month, and he looks 100 years younger than Chekhov.
Yeah, he took it. I think he sold his soul to the devil. Shatner.
Well, maybe the glue from the wig, was a fountain of youth.
Maybe that's it, but something is because he's doing all right.
I overheard him once at a convention talking to, I think it could have been either Jeff Goldblum or no, it was Henry Winkler.
It was Quincy.
No, it wasn't Quincy. It was Henry Winkler. When
Quincy.
Quincy met Henry Winkler, and Henry had started doing the convention tours, and he went over and hugged Shatner and whatnot because they were both on the Paramount lot and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And he goes, oh yeah, and he goes, Henry, I do these things so I don't sit at home and rot. Mm. So I mean, that dude is at a show every weekend somewhere in this world.
Yeah,
and he's 94.
What does he get for his autograph?
Nothing from me, but let's just say you may have to mortgage your house.
That's terrible.
All right, he gets somewhere, depending on the show, it's somewhere between $120 and $150. At this point, his signature is worth nothing because he signs 8 trillion of them a weekend.
Yeah.
When I got him in 1992, he may have been worth something because, he only did a handful of the shows back then, not weekly.
Yeah.
Cubby Smack'ems. How many of those did you used to do?
Oh my God, I did them all, but no one of Shatner's caliber of a show.
When was the last Cubby Smack'em show you did?
Man, it had to be like early 2000s, I think.
And can you explain to our listening audience what a Cubby Smack'em show is?
It's a collectible show. I mean, it's
is it like the Jolly Jim flea market?
Yeah, you know what it is, because you know what, it's useful for people because you can find cool stuff at it. Like you go to these Comic-Cons now, and it's just overrun with cosplayers ruining everything. Taking up
some
all
of the
space.
cosplayers are good looking though.
Yeah, but you know what? Come on, it's like let's have some fun. There's enough time to look at hot chicks. There's time and place for everything, right? You like that, huh? But like you go to these things, and I'm not talking about the hot chicks. All right, hot chicks aside, okay? But I went to one, right? I went to a Comic-Con, and I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you know what I went to this Comic-Con to do?
What was that?
To buy comic books.
Really?
Ooh, imagine that. What
Actually,
a novel concept that was.
You really can't find many comic books at these Comic-Cons anymore.
Because nobody buys them. Because you know what? All these morons have to do a clomp around in their cardboard uniforms. I was there, and this kid, his poor mother is just looking, and he is in this giant Transformer costume that he made out of cardboard. All right, and he painted it and everything. He looked okay. But like he's like,
what year was this?
Oh God, it had to be around, let's say 2009.
All right, so 16 years ago.
Yeah, around that time, because I went with Paul O'Brien. But I'm like, the whole thing, every time we try to get on an aisle, it was either this kid or some other kid. And they just like,
where was this again?
At the Heinz, well, whatever the Heinz is.
Oh, okay, yes.
And I just remember getting so mad because you couldn't go near anything because you couldn't walk down these aisles because these dipshits and these stupid homemade costumes just marching around. I remember this kid got out of the car and he was dressed like the elf from some game. And he had this long green stocking cap on and leotards and the little fairy boots and the little fig boots and his father's dropping him off. And you just looked at the old man like sitting behind the wheel. And this kid and his buddies were all like elfed up, Where
did I go wrong?
Exactly. I mean, come on, all right? And I get it, but don't take I don't know. I'm not choosing my words right tonight. But I'm like, Jesus, come on, guys, all right? There's got to be better things for you to do with your time.
See, that's why I like all the sexy cosplayers that go to it. There's one girl that I know from Texas, and she has the most amazing Velma from Scooby-Doo cosplay.
Yeah, but don't you find a lot of them are doing that? And if you look at them too long, or maybe that was before the new regime that we're in now, but like you could get in a lot of trouble for looking at a cosplayer.
Right. Now they want to be looked at.
I guess so. I don't know, man, but like there was a time when, you couldn't. I don't fucking know, but, it's just.
So you're not a fan of the cosplay is what you're saying?
Well, what I'm trying to say is like you go to Cubby Smack'ems, none of that. It's all collectibles and celebrities.
Who's the biggest celebrity where we're at a Cubby Smack'ems?
The biggest celebrity I ever met was the guy that played. Geez, I can't remember his name, but he was the Maytag repairman in the commercials.
I know. He's
also the guy that coined the phrase "up, up and away, hey," and bless the beast and the children.
Wow, he was there.
Yeah, he was the Maytag guy.
And who was Cubby Smack'em? I never met the man.
He was a guy who just came up with the whole concept of collectibles and flea markets that could travel from state to state to state. He was a golf expert. He was an incredible golfer.
Worst state that you ever were at a Cubby Smack'em show? Oregon?
Yeah, Concrete, Oregon.
What happened up there in Concrete, Oregon?
It just was boring.
Was it raining?
Everybody, all the kids did up there was drugs and each other. That's all they did. And if a Cubby came to town, they would like line up and everything like that. And, a lot of them would order the slush puppy. They had a slush puppy machine, although they didn't have the name slush puppy. And they would say, give me the medium cherry slush puppy, no ice. And they would just drink the syrup.
Ugh.
Oh, and their teeth were all rotten and everything.
Because when you have a slush, I used to get the brain freeze from them.
Yeah, they would just like.
So it was just basically like warm syrup?
Yeah. It's very strange.
Did they think it was blood or something and walking around?
I don't know what they thought, but
This was just in Oregon, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, hey, $7 for an autograph right here. And they always pony it up. I keep it cheap.
Why don't you just make it an even 10?
Well, now it's 10. But back then it was 7.
Okay.
Left them the $3 for the slush puppy. They liked it.
Inflation and whatnot.
Here's your change, and the slush puppy machine's right over there.
Now, do you have any juicy stories? Not with fans, but the celebrities in the green room or the hotels.
The only time it got juicy, remember Chuck McCann?
Of course I know Chuck McCann.
So Chuck McCann is doing a Cubby Smack'em show.
He was on the Far Out Space Nuts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, he was there, and all he had was stills from the Far Out Space Nuts. And who was the comedian that he was good friends with? Pat, he was, oh, God.
Pat Harrington?
No, he was a real ball breaker. He was a big dude. He's the one that streaked on stage in the Johnny Carson show.
Pat Harrington. No, I just said that. Pat McCormick.
Pat McCormick.
Right.
So Pat McCormick, so Chuck is at his table.
They kind of looked alike if you think about it.
They did. They were the size and everything. And Chuck is like being like really like reminiscent of the old days and everything, and signing because he did a lot of cartoon voices and stuff. So he's got all his stuff in doing.
He also made the bell on Little House on the Prairie. He was Tinker, the mute.
There you go. Right. He always played a mute or a deaf guy. That movie with Hot as the Lonely Hunter. Anyway, so Pat McCormick brought him a gift. Okay.
Was it gift wrapped?
It couldn't have been because it wouldn't have been able to breathe. Okay.
Oh.
And he's doing like, Chuck goes, hey, when he sees him and everything. And I'm kind of minding my own business. And he goes, I've got it. And he goes, what? He goes, it's up in the room. And he goes, what? And he goes, the thing I brought for you. And he goes, what are you talking about, Pat? He goes, the watch. And he goes, the watch? And he goes, the Chinese watch. Like that.
Oh.
And he went white because Chuck's wife was there.
Oh.
And she kind of put two and two together.
A little happy ending?
Yeah. Well, she knew right away. Because, well, first of all, Pat. And Chuck was going, Linda. And Chuck went like this to the both of them. He goes, I drove in a car 6 hours to get here. And he went, double fingers to the both of them. And he left it. He goes, she's in your room. She's all yours. Goodbye.
Wow.
Yeah. Then Linda went upstairs. Next thing you know, she's living with them, cleaning their house.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the wildest thing that happened at a Cubby Smack.
Hey, I didn't say it was going to be controversial, but it was pretty wild.
I met Chuck McCann a couple of years before he died. I
Nice
wish
guy.
I knew this story.
Yeah, well, he would have.
I would have told him. And of course,
His house was immaculate.
he had on his table, all he had was Far Out Space Nuts.
Yeah.
You know, when I was a kid watching that show, I thought that was Gilligan in space because Chuck McCann acted like the skipper.
Yeah.
You know, breakfast.
It was, yeah.
Lunch.
It was.
I said lunch, not lunch.
Those are good old days.
That was Saturday mornings there with Chuck
And the Saturday morning just seemed to last forever.
It did.
I get up now on a Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. I turn around, it's 11:30. What the hell happened? What the hell happened, Quincy?
Well, times have changed, cartoons. We remember, a lot of us, it was the serials, the characters, and the cartoons. It was just a good combination.
But it just seemed like you could watch a million cartoons on Saturday.
Weekends as a kid kind of took forever to go by.
Well, don't forget now, we were all only like maybe 6 or 7 years old, for Christ's sake.
But you could go from Popeye to Hercules to the Barber Papas to
Right.
Davy and Goliath. And
That
still,
Wheelie and the
you still
Chopper
have time
Bunch.
to eat your breakfast.
And Wheeling and the Chopper Bunch.
and then they would commercialize all these breakfast cereals, and it was the characters of the cereals that made it fun. And it's like I said, we were just 6 or 7 years old. We spent 3 hours watching cartoons.
I remember Andre the Giant selling honeycombs.
Yeah.
Honeycombs big.
Yeah.
They're really big.
Give me a big cereal with a big taste. Honeycombs big. Yeah. It's not small. No. Honeycombs got a big bite, big taste, and a big bite. Honeycomb cereal's got big taste with a big bite.
What did the Kool-Aid guy say when he broke through the wall?
Oh, yeah. Here comes Kool-Aid. Here comes Kool-Aid.
He had a song? I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah, sure. It's like...
Were those the lyrics?
Who do you think would win in a fight, the Kool-Aid guy or Time for Timer?
The Kool-Aid guy.
Oh, yeah.
He comes in, walks through the wall. Oh, yeah. Here comes Kool-Aid. Here comes Kool-Aid.
Yeah, but he had a hanker for a hunk of cheese.
hanker for a hunk of cheese.
Yeah,
When
do
the
you think
dancing, holding, and my food's kind of slow down. I hanker for a hunk of cheese.
No, what the hell was he?
Nobody.
He wasn't cheese.
He looked like a little ball of snot.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, who was Time for Timer? If Jeff was here, he'd know his whole biography.
Yeah, he would.
Well, Time for Timer, I think he was like an old pear or something with legs and
It
a
was
top
rotted
hat.
fruit that fermented. That's why.
and he had that cane because he was limp.
The cane, the handle of the cane was a knife, actually. And he could slice cheese off of.
And he could stick the Kool-Aid Man if he wanted to.
Stab right in the throat.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
Just like the guy in Death Wish 3, right in the throat.
You're on a big kick on Death Wish 3, aren't you?
I'm telling you, Eric Todd, I watch the movie with different eyes now every time I watch it.
Right.
And I posted all those close-ups.
I know. I was watching them, yeah. I saw the post.
The old lady. And the when I paused, I went out to get myself a nice cold can of plain seltzer. I paused the movie just as he was saying, "Smells good." That picture of Charles Bronson, like, woo! That's my Facebook profile page. Check it out, people, on Facebook.
And what is your Facebook handle?
Ricky Bittman, Bittman.
And you can find me on Facebook now at TC Restani.
You're enjoying Facebook.
I took a 10-year gap because you know what? I don't follow people who have the drama, as Quincy would say.
Yes.
And you know what I've noticed? Not as many people post food posts anymore on Facebook.
No, that's an old thing. That's all TikTok now.
It's just
these idiots with their challenges and stuff.
Those are kind of actually interesting. I'd rather see some fool like choke to death on a hamburger than some moron posting a picture of their French toast.
But you see the guy? He took the blood out of a butterfly.
No, I never saw that.
There was a challenge going, and he took the blood out of a butterfly and injected it into his veins, and he died.
Well, that's an imbecile.
People are just dying for this. I mean, come on.
I mean, where in someone's mind were they going to go, this sounds like a good idea?
Yeah. None of this is a good idea.
Was heroin not available?
There was one the other night, there was a picture of a girl eating spaghetti out of a toilet. The toilet was filled with spaghetti, and she's like,
Chef Bowl ID?
I don't. It looked like somebody went through the trouble of making this spaghetti and just dumped it in the toilet she's eating. Now, granted, maybe it was like a toilet from the store that wasn't hooked up or anything, but still, just the whole idea. Stop it.
There is nonsense on that, but these people are making a lot of money on it.
That they shouldn't.
Because
those days are going to be over.
My nephew, he just turned 20 the other day, and for years he's been going on Instagram or all these things, and he sends me these wacky fucking things.
Yeah.
And he goes, TC, check out this woman right here. She makes millions. Her handle is Hungry Fat Chick. All right? I think she lives in Las Vegas.
Because some of them have died.
I don't know if she's dead.
Lately, they're dying as they do the challenges.
Oh, well,
this one woman ate so much she died.
But then how does it get posted?
She died while it was doing it. You got to follow Darwin Awards.
Okay.
All right, they'll show you all of these.
All right. Well, this woman, Hungry Fat Chick, just eats nothing but fast food.
Dear God.
And reviews it and whatnot. She doesn't like pound it in seconds. She like savors every bite. And these people are making millions of dollars, and we're sitting here eating jelly babies. They're good, but
Listen, man. These people are sick.
Bull did this long before him. Remember that barbecue smoothie that he drank like 10 years ago?
Yes.
And had a piece of hair on a hot dog that he ate. We blended it all up.
Oh dear God!
You think, Quincy? Would you do this food challenge if we barbecued blended a bunch of barbecue junk? Would you drink it?
Probably not.
All right,
no,
fine.
because I don't want to get sick.
All right, we'll find some nut to do it then. Everybody's got a price like the $1 Million Man says.
No. You don't want to get sick. Is it really worth it?
Well, to some of these people, the guy's injecting butterfly blood into his veins.
How do you get blood out of a butterfly?
You hold the butterfly, take a needle, poke it into it, suck it out,
something to that effect,
and then jam it in your arm. I don't know. I'm not going to be shooting up with butterfly blood.
You have to be a real,
caterpillar, right?
Yeah.
To do what a bunch of imbeciles in this world.
Well, did you see? Okay, here's an example of a Darwin Award post. The woman who was wearing a metal butt plug when she went to get a CAT scan.
No, I didn't see this one. No.
Yeah. Serious bodily injury. I mean, because you're not supposed to have anything metal. Of course, they took all her rings off and everything, but they didn't know she had something up her keister. And she suffered serious injury. Hunter killed after shot elephant falls over and crushes him.
Good.
That's what I mean.
That's karma coming back.
And a lot of these are people doing these web challenges that end up dying. The cinnamon challenge or whatever.
Well, we had Bull do that once.
I remember that.
It didn't last very long.
Oh, there's a guy. Look at it. He's feeding this giant crocodile. He's got raw meat hanging out of his mouth.
See, these idiots deserve to die.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's probably one of those challenges.
What is that? The crocodile challenge?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Well, you go to Florida a lot. Why don't you do that the next time you're down there?
No, God, no. I told you. I was kind of felt bad when I was listening to the last episode where I talk about hating on crocodiles, because nowadays people hate for no reason. Well, not for no reason, for any reason to hate you.
Right.
And I said that I would take my chances over a shark than a crocodile any day. And, that I think all crocodiles should be killed. Or alligators, I think I said, not crocodiles, but whatever the hell, Well, I don't trust alligators. I hate them.
Marlon Perkins is rolling in his grave right now.
Well, that's speaking of rolling. I mean, what an alligator does when it gets you, it gets you in the water and it spins till you drown.
I know, because I saw that at the end of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
And then they take you and they put you under a ledge. They take you down. They swim.
No, he sits outside the building ledge.
Oh God!
I think he's dead. I think he's dead. Yeah.
We put him under there, and I get to remember the ledge in a minute. Remind me of that, because I got something to ask you.
Ledge.
He puts you under there till you get all soft and everything. Then he goes back and eats you.
Wow.
I mean, he's thinking. Where a shark's just like, what is this? Jump. Oh, okay. And starts eating you. It's almost like he's innocent.
But back to ledge.
Have you seen this town's version of the giggler? Now, he doesn't giggle, but he leaps in. Have you seen this yet?
I have not.
All right, because Tasha and I have seen this guy several times walking the streets. And
It's not the cell phone guy, is it?
Nope. This guy, he's an African-American kid.
Yeah.
And we thought one night we were just seeing the kid just react to something, okay?
It's not the guy who hangs around Whole Foods, is it?
No. He's a young kid.
Okay.
He's in good. He has a cell phone with him, and he just runs and jumps like this up the street.
I think I have.
Okay, this is like he does this all the time. We've seen him about 5 different times now. We thought one night it was just unusual, but I said, it's funny when I was watching
Death Wish 3
last night, I said the giggler, and she goes, that reminds us of, we call him Leapy Lee.
Leapy Lee.
Yeah, that's what we call him. And I said, she goes, you got to ask TC about Leapy Lee. I'm like, you know what? He probably knows this guy, or at least knows something about him.
As you bring it up, he hasn't frequented by the building as much.
Yeah, he's up by the pond a lot. That
Okay,
way.
all right, then
But the other night I saw him right up by where Papagino's used to be.
Wow.
He's like always running like he just like.
Now I'm gonna have it. Now I'm gonna have to put all of our security cameras out of the street to find Leapy Lee.
We got to catch this dude, because he is just by leaps and bounds. He marches around this town. Let me tell you.
Wow, let's bring him in here and have a conversation with Leapy Lee.
He's extremely happy.
Well, good. I mean,
But I thought he was high on something the first night, but I think maybe this is just who he is.
this is just he just loves being happy,
He's just
and he leaps.
running and leaping like really.
Does he do poetry like Leaping Lanny?
That would be great, but he's not like in how he's.
He's somewhere over the rainbow, huh?
Most black dudes are really cool.
Yeah.
Like this guy is like a geeky white guy.
He's Urkel?
Yeah, he's just not like, he's doing his own thing, but like this is like something.
Which of these kids are doing their
this is
own
something you expect
thing?
a honky to
Which
do,
of
okay? This
these
is something like a
kids-
white guy would do, run around and leap like that. That's all I'm trying to say.
All right, well, if you can get him in here for an interview, or if you can get a selfie with him, so we know.
Excuse
who it
me,
is.
Leapy, do you have a minute to come down to this? I'm trying to catch up to him.
Well, you know what? Well, maybe we'll get.
Well, if he saw her, I'm sure he would come in no time.
Most people jump when they see her for joy. Sometimes.
What do you think of Abby?
Do you like him?
No, the woman, Abby, the producer.
She's good. I thought everyone liked Abby.
They do. I'm just asking what you thought. I was trying to
She's
do my
good.
Jiminy Glick imitation.
What do you think of Abby, Jimmy Quincy Briscoe?
I think it's good.
What the hell was that noise? What
I'm
was
just
that?
I'm just having some. I think it's good.
Say it in Spanish.
I don't know how to do Spanish.
Just wing it.
The only thing I really know in Spanish is uno, dos, tres, cuatro, ocho, and 11 gear. That's all I know
Did
in
you say
Spanish.
Susie Quattro?
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro.
Remember the time we had the Quincy calls the show?
Yeah,
and
uno, dos, cuatro.
that lady asked you to talk to all the workers that were sitting on her steps, not to sit on her steps anymore, and she asked you to say it in Spanish. You went,
And I got that from Sesame Street. But that's all I know.
Of course you did. You got it from Sesame Street.
it's the same street.
It's the same street. Yeah.
All right, Quincy. I think it's time for you to wrap up the program.
Sesame seed bun?
Yeah.
2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed.
I've never had a Big
bun.
Mac.
You never had a Big Mac.
I never had a Big Mac or a Whopper. Or a Whopper Jr. even.
We have a gun to your head. Go with Whopper.
Really?
Yeah. Big Mac is just buns.
Yeah, there's 3 buns on that, huh?
Yeah.
Now the Whopper is just a big burger.
It's a big. Do not eat a Whopper while you're trying to drive.
Oh no!
It goes everywhere.
Yeah, no, I don't want that.
No. Whopper is flame broiled, so it's kind of like a super duper burger you would get at a barbecue. Big Mac was not the best sandwich, as we talked about on a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
It was a quarter pounder with cheese in the styrofoam.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm gonna have a few beers this Friday night. Sorry, at Blake Shelton. Maybe I'll get maybe I'll need a Whopper the next day.
There you go. All right, wrap it up, Quince.
Oh, thank you for watching this very interesting episode. So please drive home carefully. We'll hope to see you again soon for another episode. And remember, we never close.